Welcome to part 3 of Let's Play Slaves of the Abyss by Paul Mason and Steve Williams. At the end of the last part, I was about to read paragraph 304. Here we go. You brave the smoke to grab your possessions, toss them out of the window, and then follow yourself, edging over the sill until you are dangling by your fingertips and looking down in readiness for the fall. Suddenly, you sense a presence above you. If you look up, turn to 148. If you let go immediately, turn to 97. Okay, we're going to let go immediately and turn to 97. Here we are. You land deftly, rolling forward to absorb the shock. As you straighten up, you feel your back spattered with some viscous liquid, which begins to bubble and hiss. You tear off your jerkin and fling it into a nearby water trough. As it hits the water, a plume of steam rises into the air and the water bubbles furiously. Stepping backwards, you look up cautiously. With an intense whine, a black-winged creature rolls high into the air and disappears into the night. Turn to 111. Here we are. By now, a small crowd of townsfolk has gathered to watch the spectacle. From behind you comes a creaking noise followed by a yawning crash. You turn in time to see the roof of the inn collapse, sending up a cascade of swirling sparks. You are just wondering where you are going to spend the night when you feel the light touch of metal against your neck and a gruff voice whispers, "One move and you're a cut of beef, stranger." Out of the frying pan and into the fire. If you stay still, as the voice advises, turn to 341. If you wish to act, you may shout for help, turn to 200, or try to disarm him, turn to 292. Okay, we're going to try to disarm him and turn to 292. You drop on your knees and spin round, reaching to grab his weapon arm with your left hand and pushing with your right. Roll 2 dice. If the result is less than your skill, turn to 246. If the result is greater than or equal to your skill, turn to 178. Okay, our skill is 12, so we need this to be 11 or lower. And it was 11, good. Okay, so that was less than our skill, so we're turning to 246. So 246, here we come. Your maneuver is successful. You grip his weapon hand firmly and drive your free hand into his jaw, throwing him off balance. With a neat flick of the wrist, you force the knife from his grip and send him tumbling to the floor. As he does so, you recognize the grizzled features of your old blade master, Barolo. He has changed greatly in the past years and now sports a wooden leg, but he looks pleased to see you. Good as ever, eh, young'un? Lucky I was going easy on you, or I'd have had you on a dinner plate by now. 216, or rather, turn to 216. Many years ago, Barolo was your tutor in the treacherous Northlands. He gave you your fine sword when he felt that you had learned enough from him to deserve it. He welcomes you warmly to his house and apologizes for its dilapidated condition. While you sit recounting some of your past adventures, he takes your sword and cradles it lovingly in his hand, testing its weight and balance. Your story is interrupted by a faint scrabbling from the corner of the room. You are about to get up to investigate, but Barolo acts faster. Before you can turn your head, he twists in his chair and the sword flies from his hands. You go to retrieve it and find it has impaled the still twitching body of a rat. Barolo chuckles. "The one technique I never taught you," he says. "It is not wise for a master to teach his pupil everything until he knows he can truly trust him or her. Barolo tells you that he is now prepared to hand his last secret on to you if you wish, but you will need to sacrifice the rest of the night's sleep to learn it. If you wish to learn how to throw your sword, turn to 226. If you would rather get some rest, turn to 375. Poor old rat. Anyway. Okay, we are going to learn how to throw your sword and turn to 226. Now, the technique that Barolo calls the spitting fly is to be used against an opponent only in direst need. By using it, you disarm yourself, so you must be certain that your blow will be a fatal one. It may not be used in the midst of battle, for you must relax your body completely. You spend the rest of the night practicing, and although you can never hope to match the speed and accuracy of Barolo, you become quite adept at hitting the targets Barolo sets up for you. Next morning, you greet the dawn bleary-eyed and stiff of limb. Turn to 19. Okay, so we learn the spitting fly technique. So let's put that in our information. We've learned, who cares? The spitting fly technique. Throwing our sword. Okay, anyway, now we're turning to 19. Calamere is less than a day's ride away, so you put aside your aches for the good of its people and send for your horse. The ostler charges you 1 gold piece for stabling. Okay, so it's down to 4. Deduct this from your adventure sheet, but your mare looks well fed and eager to be off. Before you leave, Barolo hands you a bundle wrapped in an oily rag. A little something to match up with your sword, he says. Unwrapping it, you find it is a small shield, a buckler. It is perfectly balanced for use with your sword and adds 1 point to your skill in combat. If you wish to give Barolo something in return, turn to 134. Otherwise, you wave goodbye to your old teacher and set off. Tick off a time box and turn to 290. Okay, so we have a buckler shield and add 1 to our skill, but we can't because it hasn't gone over our initial, or it can't go over our initial value, but I will put it in here. So buckler shield plus 1 skill. Not over the initial value. Okay, anyway, are we going to give him something in return or say goodbye to him? Let's tick off the time box though, so that puts us up to 8 time boxes. Okay. Okay, we are going to wave goodbye to our old teacher and set off. So turn to 290. You pass through rich cultivated lands, the estates of the wealthy nobles of Calamere, until you see the welcoming sight of the Ranger Tower up ahead. Tick off a time box and turn to 67. Okay, so we have to tick off another time box. So 9. Anyway, we're turning to 67. You spur your horse once more to a gallop, race through the city gates and along the way of flint to the palace. There you confront 2 of the palace guard, the only soldiers left in the city. State your business, peasant, one of them grunts. We have no need of kitchen hands. You step back in astonishment at their impudence. Surely they must know of you. If you insist that you are on a vital mission, turn to 49. If you decide to draw your sword and threaten the guardsmen, turn to 210. Okay, so we are going to draw our sword and threaten the guardsman and turn to 210. Now, the guards are taken aback when they find themselves staring at the blade of your sword. They look at each other briefly, but then one shouts, "Get him! If you have Sige's pomander and are still wearing it, turn to 83, otherwise turn to 242. Okay. I think we've used... yeah, I don't think we're wearing the pomander, so we're turning to... Let's have a look at this. Yeah, because I took it off, didn't I? Anyway, so we're turning to 242. You must fight the guards. First guard, skill 7, stamina 8. Second guard, skill 6, stamina 7. You have to fight both the guards together. At the beginning of each attack round, you must decide which of the two you are going to fight. Resolve the battle against him as normal. You should also roll 2 dice to determine your attack strength against the other guard, then 2 dice again for his attack strength against you for that attack round. You will not injure him if your attack strength is greater, you will simply parry his blow. If his attack strength is greater than yours, then he will wound you in the normal way. If you defeat both the guardsmen, turn to 150. Okay, so we need to fight the first and second guard. So first guard 7-8 and second guard 6-7. Oh, so the first battle. So first guard 7-8 and second guard 6-7, wasn't it? Oops. There we go. Okay. Anyway, so we have to choose which one to fight, and we've done this before. Okay, venture sheet. Okay, so my skill is 12, his is 7. So 7 plus 10 is 17. I get 19. So 17 to 19. Puts him down to 6, but now we have to do one for the second guard. His is 6 and mine is 12. So 6 plus 11 is 17. I get 14. 17 to 14. That means he hurts me. Down to 20. If I'd won that, then that just means I parry the blow. So anyway, 7 plus 10 is 17. I get 17. So 17 each. Whoops, gone over there. 17 each. So neither of us hurts the other one, but I have to do for the other one now, don't I? 6 plus 11 is 17. I get 20. So 17 to 20. But that just means I parry his blow because I didn't intend to attack him, just to parry him. Anyway, 7 plus 12 again, 19. I get 17. So 19 to 17. That means he hurts me. So down to 18. Oh yeah, if I get a double 6 during a battle, it's an instant kill, and I thought there was something I forgot there. Anyway, the other one was 6, so 6 plus 7 is 13, I get 24, so 13 to 24, but that just means I parry his blow. So 13 to 24. Okay, next, 7 plus 6 is 13. Why can't I think of that? Sorry, I was thinking about whether to use the whether the double 6 applies for me or him. Is it just any double 6? I think it is. Anyway, so that's 13 for him, and I get 21. So 13 to 21. Puts him down to 4. 6 plus 3 is 9. I get Well, I think I already did get a 12 though, didn't I? I remember getting a 12 because I got 12 plus 12 is 24. But I can't remember which one that was. That for the first or the second one? I'll just do this first. Anyway, that gives me 20. So that's 9 to 22. I'll just do this first. So 9 to 22. Yeah, the double 6 was for the second one. I wasn't intending to kill him, so the double 6 doesn't apply. Yeah, so I can't really... I don't know, actually. I mean, let me just... Okay, someone... Page paragraph 242. Let me just see their rules again. You see, whenever you roll a double 6 in battle, you have scored a killing blow on your opponent. But my opponent, I was just intending to parry his blow. And it doesn't say whether it's for 2 people in a battle or 1 only. So I'll have to err on the side of caution and say... No, because I wasn't intending to kill that one, because I was only parrying his blow, then the instant kill thing doesn't apply, really, does it? So, yeah. So it's not really clear. Anyway, next one. 7 plus 12 is 19. And again, that's for him. That double, that double 6 is for him, not for me. Anyway, 19, I get 17. So 19 to 17 again. Let's be down to 16. Oops. Okay, next. 6 plus 8 is 14. I get 18. 14 to 18. But again, that just means I've parried his blow. Okay. Okay, 7 plus 8 is 15. I get 23, so 15 to 23. Oops. Puts him down to 2. 6 plus 11 is 17. I get 24, so 17 to 24. But I just parry his blow again. Okay, 7 plus 8 is 15. I get 19, so 15 to 19. Whoops, shouldn't have put that there. 15 to 19. And that puts him down to 0, so he's dead. But I shall have to parry this one's blow. 6 plus 5 is 11. I get 18, so 11 to 18. Okay, next. Okay, now I'm attacking him properly. So 6 plus 4 is 10. I get 21. So 10 to 21. Puts him down to 5. 6 plus 11 is 17. I get 18. So 17 to 18. Puts him down to 3. 6 plus 10 is 16. I get 21, so 16 to 21. Puts him down to 1. Next, 6 plus 3 is 9. I get 20, 9 to 20. Whoops. There we go. Puts him down to 0, and that's 9 to 20. At last, we're done. So yeah, it's a little bit, it isn't completely clear, the instant kill thing. Does it mean, because it doesn't specify what to do if you're fighting 2 opponents, what to do if you're in this parrying situation. Does it mean if I roll a 6 on my attack round situation, or does it mean, does it mean rolling a double 6 on my attack round roll or on his as well? I assume it means only on mine, but it doesn't state that. So if you wanted to quote-unquote cheat, quote-unquote, you could just sort of say, oh yes, I randomly got a double 6. That means the battle's over. I've defeated both of them. So that's it. But I'm not going to do that. So it's not clear. They should have made it clear. That's my complaint. Anyway, so that's that. Let's remove any buzzing, should there be any. Yeah, because I did get a couple of double 12s, but it occurred either not on my attack round or on the one that I was, I was only parrying. I wasn't intending to kill him. I was only parrying because that's how the battle works. Anyway, if you defeat both the guardsmen, turn to 150. We did, so returning to 150. You drag the bodies of the guardsmen into the nearby ditch and stride into the palace courtyard. The first person you meet is a footman. He is laden down by the weight of a heavy chest he is carrying and is hurrying towards the stables. When he sees you, he hails you and demands to know your business. You tell him you have an urgent message for Lady Danyazad. He directs you to an antechamber and promises to fetch the noblewoman. As the footman scurries off, you make your way into the antechamber and wait. Turn to 310. After several minutes, the slight form of Dunyazad breezes into the chamber, accompanied by a hulking bodyguard and a shifty, travel-stained individual whom you recognise as Luthor, one of the other heroes who stayed behind to protect Calamere. What is it you want? She snaps abruptly at you. You explain to her what you have discovered during your journey, and noticing as you do so, a smirk appear on the face of the hero. When you finish, Dunyazad turns to him. Is this true? She asks. No, my lady, he replies. As you know, I myself have just returned from scouting those very lands, and I saw no invading horde. It was just a wild story spread by some irresponsible rumour-monger. The superstitious villagers had merely abandoned their villages and hidden in the forests. Does this wastrel think to impress you with these ridiculous claims? Dunyazad turns back to you and frowns. I am too busy with the arrangements for Lady Carolina's funeral to listen to you two bicker. I will use my own methods to ascertain the truth. Meanwhile, you will spend the night in the palace. You are led off to the servants' quarters and given a hard pallet on which to sleep. Turn to 267. As darkness falls, you lie awake on your pallet, trying to make some sense of the day's events. As you ponder, you feel the hairs on the back of your neck rise. Straining your senses, you make out a faint, familiar buzzing. Your enemy is within the palace. You snatch up your sword and rush into the courtyard. Looking across at the keep, you see a black shadow rise from it and disappear into the night sky. The keep is the dwelling place of Calamere's nobility. Its central tower contains Lady Carolina's private suite and audience chamber. The winged creature flew not from the tower itself, but from one of the windows of the keep from which the tower springs. Tick off a time box. So up to 10 now. If you go and investigate the keep, turn to 342. If you return to your pallet, turn to 165. Okay, we are going to investigate the keep and turn to 342. The main door into the keep will undoubtedly be well guarded. However, by climbing a flight of stairs in the palace walls and slipping along the walkway that runs along their top, you will be able to reach its roof. Glancing round the courtyard, you notice a coil of rope hanging from a hook outside the stables, so you wrap this round you and make your way up the stairs. You keep an eye open for any sign of the guards who occasionally patrol the walkway. Roll 2 dice. If the result is less than your skill, turn to 71. If the result is greater than or equal to your skill, turn to 371. Okay, so we need this to be 11 or lower, which it is. So we were successful. Turn to 71. Yeah, they must have made it less than because they realised if it's less than or equal to your skill to be successful, that means you're guaranteed to win if you have a skill of 12 like me. So this one makes more sense. It's better because even with the maximum skill, it's still possible to fail. You creep along the walkway until you reach the point where it meets the keep. From here it is only a short drop onto the slightly sloping roof of the keep of the palace. Above you rises the keep's tower, but you devote your attention to the keep below. The winged creature came from one of the windows below, but you're not certain which one. The keep has 4 walls looking into the courtyard, and each has a small casement window. Around the edge of the keep runs a row of ornamental spikes, round which you will be able to loop the rope. You will be able to lower yourself down the wall to peer in at each of the windows. Down which wall do you lower yourself first? The far left wall, 10 to 397, the left centre wall, 10 to 94, the right centre wall, 10 to 218, or the far right wall, 10 to 340. Okay. Okay, we're going to take the far right wall and turn to 340. You lower yourself slowly down the wall until you are level with the window. Then you crane your head round to peer in. The room is dimly lit, and you strain to see the stark features of the Lady Sage, which seem to be staring back at you. You wait breathlessly for her to challenge you, and then realise that she is deep in meditation. She sits at a small table upon which lie a board and counters. With her fingertips, she gently moves the tokens across its surface, Pressing your face to the glass, you see that the board is a map of Calamere. You wait a while to see if Sage stirs, but finally you give up and return to the keep's roof. If this is the third window in which you have looked, turn to 25. Otherwise you may return to your quarters, turn to 151, or investigate any of the following if you have not done so already. Okay, we're going to return to our quarters and turn to 151. You slip down the rope to the courtyard and, keeping in the shadows around its edge, begin to make your way back to the servants' quarters. You notice a guardsman marching along the walkway on the walls. If you had remained on the roof of the keep, he would probably have spotted you. Turn to 204. Okay, turn to 204. Suddenly, you hear the sound of grating metal nearby. Behind you is a small metal door which leads into one of the outbuildings of the palace. A key is turning in the lock. You flatten yourself against the wall by the side of the door. It is flung outward, nearly crushing you. From your hiding place behind the door, you hear several voices. You recognize one as that of Luthor, the traitorous adventurer who embarrassed you in front of Dunyazad. Put up quite a struggle, eh, lads? He says. Yes, Luthor. They don't call him Ramades the Invincible for nothing. Even with enough brew inside him to drop a dragon, he fought like a dozen men. Don't worry, the other one will be a lot easier. Do they mean you? The voices reach the other end of the courtyard and you hear a door slam. For some reason, they've left this door open. If you creep cautiously down the passage out of which the men came, turn to 363. If you slip back to your pallet in the servants' quarters, turn to 165. If you wish to spend the rest of the night hidden in the stables, turn to 137. Okay, we are going to creep cautiously down the passage out of which the men came and turn to 363. The passage is very dark, and after a few yards you nearly tumble down a steep flight of stairs. After a tortuous descent, the passage widens out, and you see the warm glow of torchlight ahead. You make your way past a row of empty cells into a rough-hewn cavern full of shadowed niches and alcoves. Your attention is drawn to the large metal grille set into the floor. At its centre is a trapdoor of thinner bars. A few feet from them you make out a pair of hands gripping the grille tightly. Stepping closer, you see that a man is hanging from the grille, while below him a huge shape moves in the darkness, making foul sucking and gurgling noises. If you have a crossbow, If you have a crossbow and wish to shoot the creature which lurks below, turn to 51. If you leave the chamber, turn to 126. If you rush to open the trapdoor, turn to 162. Okay, we're going to rush to open the trapdoor and turn to 162. You cross to the barred trapdoor. It has a lock on it, but when you grasp the bars, you find it has been left unlocked. You lift it easily with both hands and reach through to see whether you can grasp the man's hand. Unfortunately, he is too far away, so you call to him to edge closer. From his muscular build, you guess that this is Ramedes the Invincible, Lady Carolina's champion. He starts to make painful progress towards you, one hand at a time. Then you are aware of somebody behind you, just as they kick you violently in the back, sending you headlong into the gurgling darkness. Turn to 175. You land painfully on the soft floor of the pit. To one side you can make out a single luminous eye regarding you from amid a bulky, shifting mass of mottled grey flesh. Beneath the eye is a gaping black maw from which come ghastly sucking noises. It is a quadrant, a horror bred by only the most loathsome and warped sorcerers. You have only a moment in which to act. Will you use a blowpipe if you have one which has not been used? Turn to 378. Use the spitting fly if you know it. Turn to 328. Fight the horror with your sword. Turn to 314. Or flee up the rough walls of the pit. Turn to 18. And there it is. Okay, I think we have a blowpipe. So, yep, there's the blowpipe. So we're going to use that. And it has not been used, so we're turning to 378. As the quadrant lumbers in your direction, you draw Mima's blowpipe from your pocket and point the slender tube at the creature. It begins to suck at you, and you struggle to keep your footing. At the last possible moment, you blow hard down the tube. A cloud of fine powder billows forth and is instantly sucked into the creature's gaping mouth. With a convulsive shudder, it collapses backwards, choking and wheezing asthmatically. Seizing your opportunity, you draw your sword and leap into attack. Quadrant, skill 6, stamina 8. If you lose an attack to the quadrant, it sucks you into its mouth. From then on, you will lose 2 points of stamina per attack round as it begins to suck the flesh off your bones, even if you win the attack against it. If you defeat the quadrant, turn to 64. Okay, quadrant 6, 8. Let's do this. Quadrant 6, 8. Okay, so let's start this off. My skill is 12, and if I roll a double 6, it's instant death. So 6 plus 9 is 15. I get 21. So 15 to 21. Puts them down to 6. Yeah, so if we ever lose an attack round, then we have to do that. 2 stamina point loss every attack round regardless. 6 plus 8 is 14. I get 19, so 14 to 19. Four. I'll just state that I've used the blowpipe, so I need to say that's been used. There we go. There we go. Okay, 6 plus 9 is 15. I get 24, so 15 to 24. And in fact, that was a double 12. I mean, that was a double 6, so it's now instantly dead. So I'm using that thing. So that was 15 to 24. And then 24 means it's instantly dead. So that's the end of that. So that was good. I used that double 6 malarkey because that was in my attack round as well, the double 6. So that's good. Anyway, so if you defeat the quadrant, turn to 64. So we're turning to 64. And that is the end of this video. So I'll just note that 64 is the next paragraph to read. Okay, I'd say we're about halfway through the book, more or less. This is quite a long one. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you can join me for the next part. Just double check it is 64. Yeah, okay, so yeah, thanks for watching, and goodbye.